Well, hello everyone. My name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. It's also a new month, which means I'll be starting on a new theme. And for February, I'll be highlighting another universal antagonist that folks can use for a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Their plots, their themes, their stats, their minions, and a few other ideas. So let's go ahead and get started. The idea for a universal antagonist is basically taking an archetype of a villain that we would all know from media and the like and kind of re-sculpting them in a slightly different way to present to your Dungeons & Dragons players as kind of an overarching enemy for a campaign, though they could be used for one-off games as well as needed. Today we're going to go ahead and discuss the Lodgemaster, who is inspired by the Wolfman, mostly the most recent version of the Wolfman. I really liked Anthony Hopkins' character from that movie, so let's go ahead and start talking about him. Casting himself as a gruff and grizzled nobleman, the Lodgemaster seeks to corrupt the government from within by encouraging his fellow blue bloods to greater acts of barbarism and depravity. The demon's human form is a barrel-chested man just past his prime, with streaks of gray peppering his neatly trimmed beard and hair. He still carries a commanding air of physical prowess and intellectual intensity despite his years. The Lodgemaster builds a reputation of being a man's man, as a consummate hunter and powerful lover. He can transform into a massive red direwolf with glinting eyes and dagger-like fangs, but that is not his natural form. In his true form, the demon is covered with crimson fur and stands just under 8 feet tall. While his body remains bipedal, his head resembles a dire wolf's skull, the fangs replaced with blackened iron. Red pinpricks float within the skull's sockets, and a leathery tongue lolls from its maw. The Lodgemaster's legs are reverse jointed, and his hands are surprisingly articulate claws. He always wears finely tailored clothing, which grows to match his horrid form. The Lodgemaster primarily grows his power through cults of personality. He takes a few protégés under his wing under the pretense of teaching them what it means to be a gentleman and a hunter. Over time, he twists his pupils, compelling them to savage deeds against animals, then peasants and commoners who will not be missed, and finally turning them loose on their fellow nobles. These cults often do not last long, but leave lasting scars on a region's history. The Lodgemaster's influence has led to civil wars, revolutions, and inquisitions over the centuries. Each time this demon exits the stage before the real trouble starts, resurfacing a few generations later to refound the cult and spread his toxic message once more. Let's take a look at the Lodgemaster's statistics for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. He is a challenge rating 11 fiend who is chaotic evil. He does have saving throw bonuses, a plethora of skills with, of course, survival. He has damage resistances to fire and then attacks that aren't made with magical weapons. He has damage immunities to cold and poison. He is immune to exhaustion, frightened, and poison. He has dark vision as one might expect. He has keen hearing and smell, so he gets advantage on wisdom perception checks using those senses. He has magic resistance. He has pack tactics, so he always gets advantage on attack rolls if he has an ally within 5 feet that's also threatening that creature. He has pounce as per the normal ability. He has rampage, so he gets to make an extra melee attack after he reduces a creature to 0 hit points. He is a shape changer, so he can change from his demon form into that of a human, always the same, or that dire wolf that I mentioned earlier. And he does have a long and high jump of 40 feet thanks to a natural leap. His other really big ability is Majesty, so the first time a creature attacks a Lodgemaster on their turn, they have to succeed on a charisma save or they can't continue attacking them because there's such a aura of awe around him. So he can be difficult to engage in melee combat. He does get multi-attack. If he's in human form, he can attack multiple times with the battle axe. If he's not, well, he can use his flinching claws and bite. His bite is just a lot of damage because it's a big demon wolf head that bites you. The claws, they do some piercing damage, but on top of that, you have to make a save or you take necrotic damage every round as you are bleeding out because it's flinched off parts of your skin. He does also have an ability that's a recharge ability that is Bloodthirsty Howl with a 120 feet radius, where all creatures have to make a charisma save or attack the nearest creature to them, no matter if they are friend or foe, because he just makes everyone froth and rage for one action. He does, of course, have legendary abilities, as one might expect. He has Alphux Call, so he can use this legendary action to force one of his allies to use their reaction to make an attack, as long as they are a beast or a fiend. He does have Bite, so he can make a bite attack. And he does have Savage, where he can move and make a pounce action against a creature. So, again, you know, like any other sort of big bad, he's got a plethora of terrible things that he can do once he gets into combat with your players. I hope you enjoyed the Lodgemaster. You can find him along with hundreds of other monsters for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition that are all horror themed and perfectly free at boxofteeth.blogspot.com, and we'll be covering his minions throughout the month as well to kind of fill in the various levels below challenge rating 11 that you can use. If you're more interested in the non-Dungeons & Dragons content that I have, or the horror fiction that I write that includes grease paint right here, it's got a killer clown. It takes place in the woods. Pretty sure you'd enjoy it if you like horror stuff. You can always go to www.zacharyoshay.com. Thank you for your time and your attention, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the day.